How you doing, pioneers? This is MJ, KK, 613.14. Coming back at you one more time. Unofficial Pi through my eyes. Haven't done a video in about a week or so. Been a little busy here at the ranch, and had some stuff I had to take care of, getting ready for Thanksgiving and all that other good stuff. Do want to wish everybody that celebrates Thanksgiving happy Thanksgiving. Hope your day's going great. Just realized, or keeping up on Pi, we've just crossed 29 million active pioneers. Kudos. And Pi hasn't slowed since I've joined, and it keeps on going, man. Pi's huge. Pi will be huge. I've been trying to keep up with chat and stuff like that. I've mined every day, haven't missed. But, we got to take it one step at a time, man. One step at a time. The KYC, I haven't heard any more about the testing phase or where it's at in its testing phase. But as long as you've stayed one person, one account, one mobile device, and if you're running the node, you've already KYC'd. So if you stay within those parameters, you have nothing to worry about. Pi Core and Pi is not looking to punish anybody that has played by the rules. As long as you've played by the rules, you're fine. You will get through KYC. You will get the Pi that you've mined, earned, collected to this point. As long as your earning team, as long as they claim their accounts, you will get the Pi that you've earned together. So don't need to stress KYC. It'll happen. Core has not gone back on anything they've put out publicly as far as KYC, launch, none of that. So we're coming up on December, man. It's getting close. Now, I also haven't heard any specific date. There is no specific date. It'll happen when it happens. We just need to relax. Keep doing what we're doing. Keep mining. Keep inviting people. Keep Pi growing. We'll get there. We will get there. Now, I have my own opinions on how Pi how Core may release Pi Phase 3 mainnet, but that's just my opinion. I don't think it'll be a light switch Phase 3. I think it'll be a soft launch, a controlled launch. There'll be something there that'll slow the release of Pi down, because I think there's still a lot of people. The two schools of thought, the two camps, three camps, whatever's out there, are still there. They're not going away. They won't go away, and they won't change until Phase 3. You have people that are leaning towards the exchanges. They're going to be there. Exchanges are going to be part of Pi's economy. It can't do anything but. Okay? But that's not Pi's primary main goal. Pi's main goal is to be used as a form of currency to buy goods and services. That is its main goal. So you have the camp that understands it, knows it, believes it, is working towards that goal. You have the camp that is holding Pi to the exchange because they believe that's the only way Pi is going to have value, which is... And what value... Here's where I get on the schools of thought, okay? And I've never said Pi will not trade on the exchange. I have never said Pi shouldn't trade on the exchange. Somewhere along the line, yes, Pi should trade for fate currency, somewhere. Because we live in a fate society. So there are things that, starting out, that we won't be able to buy with Pi, that we will only be able to buy with fate. So, should it trade on the exchange? Yes. For the value that people are saying that it should trade at? No, I don't believe that in a heartbeat. Because with what exchanges are saying, or what people are saying the exchanges are going to start at, cuts out almost half of the Pi community of even being able to trade on the exchanges. I was reading a comment earlier today that there's been a person that has been here as long as I have, if not longer, close to 3 years, that only has 1,600 Pi. Okay? That means they've mined them by themselves this whole time. So they only have 1,600 Pi. If Pi opens at a dime or 25 cents or whatever, You do the math. I mean, what are they, after 3 years, what are they gaining trading on the exchange? On top of fees and everything else is going to be incurred, they're not going to have anything to do anything with anyway. I mean, what can you buy for $10 in this day and age? You can't buy jack, man. You can't buy jack for $10. So, now I do believe in supply and demand and all the other stuff that goes with it. But what I don't think people are really understanding is we control the supply and demand. The supply and demand that they're talking about, us as a community, we control what is out on the exchanges. Now, I don't know, it's written, Core is not going after an exchange listing. They are not putting any foot forward to go after an exchange listing as far as the currency goes. So that should tell you something right there. That if they're not looking to go after an exchange listing, that means they're not putting up any money up front to get on the exchange. They're not putting out any Pi to start trading on the exchange. There's nothing there. There is no Pi as a currency on the exchange to trade, which means if an exchange chooses to list Pi, it's on them. That means liquidity, that means coins, that means whatever is on that exchange. If the exchange chooses, it's on them to list it. It has nothing to do with Pi. It has to do with them. So everybody's talking liquidity and needing this and having to do that and needing, okay. If Core's not doing it, and we don't do it, the demand is already there. I mean, every day you read the comment, well, I'll just wait till Pi goes on the exchange and then I'll just buy it and I'll step right in and be a whale or whatever it is. Well, that's cool. I mean, that thinking is off, but it's cool because it already creates demand. Because there are people waiting just to buy Pi to get in the upper level of Pi. Because they know Pi should start at some ungodly low price. I mean, we're talking pennies probably. I mean, if you look at, granted, Pi supply will not be released all at one time. But from what I understand between Stellar and all that, there has to be a pre-minted supply of Pi. I mean, if you look at Stellar and you look at Ripple, the amount of coin that is in those projects is already minted. It's already in a vault. It's in a trust. It's in somewhere. Okay, that somebody centralized has control of. Now that concerns me about Pi, because the amount of Pi that I have calculated is way up there, more than any. I mean, I've only heard a few of them get where I'm at, and Pi, that kind of supply, Pi needs that kind of supply to be a currency, to be a usable, daily, stable, trustable currency. It needs to be big. Now, I've also heard that because of Stellar, that the program can only produce a maximum amount of Pi. Now, that I don't know. I'm still waiting on response for that. Because if it is, then my calculations are way off. Because it can only, I think somebody said it can only produce like 999 billion or something like that. I'm up in the trillions. And for a world of 7.5 billion people climbing towards 8 billion people, 100 billion coin isn't enough to be able to reach everyone. Pi is supposed to be the most inclusive, usable, daily currency. I mean, look, I know the United States, the US dollar is the reserve currency, but the way they keep their books and keep track of the amount of, okay, I think it's only like 30% is actual physical fake currency out of everything. And I know there's M1 and M2 and M3 and all that, and how they calculate the value and all of it. I mean, it's written by lawyers, by financial people, to keep it where it is so people don't understand what's going on. But the way they keep their books, if if any of us kept our books the way the United States keeps their books and what they use and keep track of with, yeah, we would probably be indicted and be in prison for fraud or embezzlement or fixing the books or whatever, tax evasion and all that other stuff that goes with keeping a legit set of books. Yeah. You know, I live here, and I do believe the United States is one of the best countries in the world to live in, be a part of, but they're doing some shady stuff, man. And Pi, I think, is looking to give us an alternative to get out from underneath that system. To not be controlled by that system. But the deeper I'm also getting into Pi, and into Pi as a currency, Pi as the money, Pi, how Pi fits into being a crypto and being all in. Since Bitcoin launched in 2008, 2009, the restrictions and regulations and everything, taxes and everything else that they've put on to cryptocurrency is to keep cryptocurrency down, out of the system, so it can't challenge what's already out there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know all of it from the beginning, but, I mean, being taxed on mining, I mean, anything that you mined or have gotten from airdrop or anything is taxable. When you sell it, it's taxable. When you, today, see, before on a barter system was goods for goods. And you didn't get taxed on trading goods for goods. Today, crypto gets taxed for trading in a barter system. Yeah. So, you know, I don't know how all of that is going to affect or play, or how it's all going to determine what Pi does or how Pi acts in the market. Now, I do believe that what Pi has going for it that has not really been discussed or talked about is community governance. Whether it's conditional to start or whatever it is to start, we need to start talking about it, because that also needs to be in place when Pi goes live. That's what sets Pi apart from everything else. Because if you have a currency, and this is just my own opinion, my own thoughts, the way I see things. If you have a currency that is usable, trustable, stable, on a daily basis, because it comes down to us. It comes down to, what makes the dollar the dollar? What makes it, because it's not backed by anything. When it was backed by gold, yes, you could turn it in for X amount of gold. You know, if you had a silver certificate, you could turn it in for silver. If you had a gold certificate, you could turn it in for gold. If you had a gold coin, you could take it and get that amount of gold for it. Well, in that, now this is the way I perceive it. Through that system, we came to trust it, believe it. It was there. We knew it was there. It was backed up by something. Well, in 71, when the United States realized that it had more dollars out than it had gold in its reserve, and if people started to come in and cash in their gold certificates or gold coins or whatever it was, we had no reserve. It would have wiped out the gold reserve. Nixon cut it in 71. As soon as he cut it in 71, all hell broke loose. Because now, fate is fate. It's not backed by anything. It's backed by the government. It's backed by the government. But what supports that? What gives that value? What gives that use? Us trusting it. Us trusting that when I take whatever amount denomination I have, a dollar bill, I take it into the grocery store or wherever I'm going, and I give that dollar bill and I get a good for it. All I did was pass a debt to whoever's accepting it, because they're trusting that the government's going to cover it. Well, if they can take that dollar that they got from me and they can go to their vendor and they can resupply whatever it is, their vendor is trusting that the government is going to pass that, because they just passed that debt. That person guarantee, they're believing that the government is going to back that debt. We trust it. We trust using it. We use it daily, in and out. Daily transactions, in and out. Well, if there's nothing backing it except the government, why would any other currency be the same? Why wouldn't it be the same? If we have as a community of 29 million people, 29 million people. You know how many people that is? Around the world. No borders. Seamless transactions between us. 29 million people. Yes, it's a drop in the bucket to 7 billion. But it's a lot of people, man. Around the world. 236 countries. That if we trust each other, and we trust, if I'm a seller of goods, and I'm going to accept Pi at a certain value, and you come to buy something, and I accept it at that, you're trusting I'm going to accept it. Well, my faith and my trust is in somebody else accepting it at the same value I have it. And you can call it price fixing, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but the bottom line is that's the value. If I accept it as a seller and I can use it as a buyer someplace else, that's the value. And the more that changes, the more that value is accepted everywhere, and the more it's being used, and the more that Pi is passing around each other, that's what cements that value. That's all it is, man. It's trust and belief in it. If we trust it and believe it and use it daily. I mean, Pi is not looking to be the next Bitcoin. Pi is not looking to be a 60,000 or 100,000 or $1 million coin. It's not. That's not the way it's designed. It's designed to be used for daily transactions, buying the goods and services that we want and need daily. Will we be able to buy down the road? Do I believe we will be able to buy high ticket items, high dollar items, houses, cars, boats, all that kind of stuff? Yes, down the road. We're not there yet. We're just getting started. It has to start somewhere. It has to start with us accepting it, believing it, trusting in each other, and using it. That's what Pi's about, man. And doing that already starts to upset the apple cart, because we don't need to go to the outside governments or whatever to support or back what we're doing. We're already doing it. Yes, do we need to supply shelves, and do we need to supply this? Yes, all of that comes into play. It will. I haven't overlooked it, okay? But what if the dollar were to crash? I mean, the value right now is in the toilet. The value of the dollar is in the toilet. I mean, just over the last 6 months, we probably lost 30% of its buying power. Yeah. I mean, everything is up. In the United States, everything is up. I mean, gas went from $3 to $4.50 in less than a couple of months. Grocery store, everything is up. Everything at the grocery store is up at least $1 or $2, depending. You know, chicken. You used to be able to buy chicken for next to nothing. Chicken is almost as much as steak is now. Why? Production hasn't changed. How we produce it, how we operate, hasn't changed. But everything else has gone up. Fuel goes up, everything else goes up. Cattle feed goes up, price goes up. Name goes up, price goes up. And it's all behind profit. It's all driven by profit. I mean, it's all driven by profit. They don't want to lose their profit, so they pass it on to us. And we pay it. Yeah. And we pay it. Without even thinking about it. We pay it. Well, if you have another form of money, okay, what's to say if I'm raising beef that I can't sell my beef for Pi? Okay? Yes. Does my grain producer and all this other stuff have to? Well, hopefully hopefully I got him on board or whatever it is, and we may be able to work a deal with grain for Pi. That's how it starts. One at a time. One transaction at a time. But the value has to be high enough to be usable. Okay? So if you're looking at the exchanges, the value isn't high enough to be usable. No, I don't care how much Pi you got. Okay? If you cut off half the community being able to even use their Pi won't be used. It can't be used. So how can it gain trust? How can it gain value? How can it gain acceptance if it can't be used? Now, I also have my opinion on that too. Is it, I don't want to go there because Pi is built on trust. But why are people holding it to what it's not supposed to be? You've got to ask yourself that. Why are people so adamant about holding Pi to nothing. I can only think of a couple of reasons. One is those that are holding it down are trying to steal somebody else's pie. Or they're working for somebody else and they don't. Pie is a threat, man. Pie is a threat to the system. If they don't want that, competition. They don't want that. Why do you think they're regulating everything so much? Why do you think capital gains are 42%, or I think anywhere from 33 to 42 or 48% on capital gains? Why? And we're giving that money to them on capital gains, unless you're already in the 1 or 2% that work their way around it, and they have their systems on working their way around it. Well, why can't them systems work for pie too? Okay, I mean, yeah, pie's bigger than a lot of people think. There's a lot more to pie than people think. Okay, and it's not about whales controlling this and controlling. No, whales. If they're whales, they probably already have a system set up in mind, looking at how they're going to increase their wealth, increase their fortune, because they think different, they act different, they do different things. Because the 1 or 2% don't work on debt. No, they don't work on debt. They borrow our money to increase their wealth. Yeah, research it, look into it. It's a trip, man. It's a trip what the 1 or 2% get away with. Yeah, they're the ones pulling the strings. Pi can be an alternative, and if we're trusting using it, it's doing. We don't have to go to the outside. We don't have to be under government control. We don't have to be government regulated. And if we're governing ourselves, that's the biggest threat that scares big government, is a crypto that is usable, that is trustable, usable, stable, daily currency, that the community of 29 million plus and growing is governing themselves. Because then that does pull us away from the government. At least a small part. It doesn't say we're not still in that system, because we are. We're not going to change that system. We're not going to change it. Now, we may have a place in creating change to the system, but we're not going to change the system. It's going to take a whole lot more. It's going to take a whole lot more projects like Pi to make that change. And we're in a season of change. Let's go with it. Let's roll with it. Let's make it happen. It comes down to trust, belief, use, and going with it. So, I've been sitting and thinking, because I haven't put anything out for a week or so, and when I do, my head gets going and all sorts of stuff. Pi is bigger than a lot of people either give it credit for, believe it is, or believe it can be. But when you really sit back and look at Pi, okay, most other cryptos that come out have built off of something else. Most of them have being built off of Ethereum. Okay? And what can be built on Ethereum or built off of Ethereum? Well, there's no reason why those same things can't be built off of Pi. Yes. Is Pi forked off of Stellar? Yes, it is. I've been set straight on that. But what Core has chosen to use from Stellar is this consensus protocol to build blockchain. Everything else, that the mining, the structure of Pi, how Pi is going to operate, is all created by Core on top of it, built on top. And I've always said, I know enough about computer technology today to be dangerous. But if you can think it, you can write it. And if you can write it, you can build it. And if you can build it, it is what it is. And I've been watching some of these scrap channels and scrappers and stuff like that. Some dude just came across, old school. One of the first laptops that ever came about. I don't even know what it was. It had to be a 64, somewhere in 64, clock speed, 64 range. It was a suitcase that you took the face off of, had the keyboard and the face and a little screen about that big, okay? That's where computers started. There is more computing power in a smartphone than there was in those first computers. Even the computers that sent the dudes to the moon, man. Those computers were buildings. like 3 buildings for one single computer. There's more computing power in our phones than sent those people to the moon. If you can think it, you can write it. If you can write it, you can build it. If you can build it, you can make it happen. We're in a season of change, man. So to say the core can't add to or build from or create, Pi is Pi. Pi is its own deal, man. Yes, I still haven't heard the dApps or what is coming out of Pi officially to be able to trade Pi. I don't know. I haven't heard. Nobody said. It's been quiet, which adds to the frustration, the confusion, whatever it is. But I believe there are things there that will happen, that are going to happen. Now, value that they place on Pi, that I don't know. But see, once Pi goes live and goes mainnet, all of these legit unofficial Pi sites that are trading in Pi become open game, become fair game, become places that we can actually trade by, that are already set up and running. There are shops, there are stores. Now, I've always said, be careful about what's coming out of China. But there are legit, unofficial places that are using a backer system that are making trades for Pi. Just do your research, do your homework, know what you're getting involved in. But once Pi goes live, those all become available to use. And if they're already set up and people are already selling goods for Pi for X amount of value, why wouldn't we use them? That's open market. That's fair market. That's, you go where you get the best value. Here in the States, a place called Harbor Freight. You shop at Harbor Freight or you shop at Home Depot or Lowe's to get your tools. Well, some I go to Harbor Freight because I get a better deal for what I'm doing. Some I go to Home Depot. Some I go to Grainger. Some I go to Snap-on. Depends on what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, and where I get the best value from my buck. Okay? That's open market, fair market. That's what will determine the value of Pi. Where people go to shop to get the best value. Starting out, will it be a little difficult? Yes. We are just starting out. Grow up. Be adult. Pi's future is in our hands. We can't rely on Core. Core is only so big. I think they may be up to 20 people to control the future of 29 million and growing. No, it's going to take 29 million and growing to secure Pi's future. That's my thoughts. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I've been mulling over the last week when I've been busy doing other stuff. We have the opportunity. Being in a season of change. Roll with the change, man. Let's make it happen. Let's put this one in history books. I'm going to say we're getting, 30 days, 31 days, and we're on 26.5. So we're about less than 40 days from the end of the year. Let's put this one in history books. Let's put it in the right way. Let's create history again. But let's do it right this time. I'm going to shut down with this. I believe the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi, whoever they are, whoever he is, whatever. Now, I've heard it mentioned that Core is Satoshi and all that. I don't want to weigh one way or another. I really don't. I do know they haven't hidden like Satoshi has. They've been out front. You can find them. They are real people. You know who they are. Everything they have put their on the line. They are on the line. But what I believe from Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is what it is, and I don't want to take anything away from what Bitcoin has accomplished, what it's doing, the prices it's at, the trading that it's doing, and all that. It's all part of. But I think that wasn't the intended goal for Bitcoin. Core, see, in the beginning, I thought the vision and the insight and all that Pi has was from Core. Well, I think Core expanded on the vision that was. I mean, Bitcoin actually started like 10 years before Satoshi came in and started to rework it and came up with what he came up with. It was started by a couple of guys way back when. And then they got it so far and couldn't, and it sat shelf for a while. Satoshi came in, he did what he did. He figured out the mechanism, proof of work, to make Bitcoin what it is, and he launched it. But I don't think the vision that he has for Bitcoin is what it is today. I think he has a vision of Bitcoin being the next step that Pi is looking to take, and to be a usable daily currency. That's why one person, one account, one mobile device, one node on PC. And that's why it's so strict. Because as long as Pi doesn't, as long as we can't connect together to either mine faster or earn faster or what, okay, eliminates all the points of centralization in the currency, in the nodes, in the community, and everything. Because it's one person, one account, one mobile device, which is needed for Pi Network, and one node. If you can run it, run one. We need it. The more nodes, the more honest the system is. It's built on trust. Well, as long as Pi stays that way, Pi will remain a usable daily currency. Doesn't matter what comes up behind it. Pi will be a player. Pi will be a player, man. With 29 plus million people, we are bigger than some small countries. Yeah. And we're stretched around the world with no borders. Seamless. Being able to trade 24/7, 365, man. That's the power of Pi. So, that's where I say, Pi will never be, I don't believe, Pi will never be a $60,000 coin. If it gets to 10,000, I would be real surprised. Because it's not meant to. It's not meant to trade for fake currency. What if, and like I go back to it, I didn't finish, what if the dollar were to crash? What if the dollar were to crash? Everything tied to the dollar goes to zero. Even Bitcoin. Where does Bitcoin get its value if it doesn't get it from trading on the exchange for the dollar? It goes down to the dark web. But see, from what I understand, Monroe is taking over the dark web because it's anonymous. Don't know who owns it, who does whatever. Monroe has the economy down on the dark web. That's what people are using on the dark web, is Monroe, from my understanding. I don't know for a fact, just going from what I understand. So, Bitcoin even lost its hold down on the dark web. They would sell Bitcoin from Monroe and trade with Monroe. Such is life. But nobody talks about it, okay? So, if everything goes to zero, what survives? Something that has value, something that is usable. Pi. And if you don't think if the dollar were to crash to that point, that vendors looking to move merchandise, looking to move manufactured goods, wouldn't look at other alternatives to be able to do that, it's about what's possible. It's about letting things play out. It's about being in the right place at the right time to make things happen. To be there, how much lower can the dollar go before it's worth nothing? How much lower can it go before it's worth nothing? How much lower can it go before people lose trust in it? I scrape by to get what dollars I can to survive day to day, but I have no alternative at this point. But what if I have an alternative, then I don't have to scrape by day to day? Does my confidence and my trust waver? Of course it does. And I don't use it. I don't need to use it. I don't have to use it. I got something else I can use and someplace else I can go to get what I need. Yeah. You don't think things are going to dump everything? Well, if everything goes to zero, everything will go to zero for a while. Anything tied to the dollar will go to zero for a while. It has to. Because it's all calculated by the dollar. Dollar crashes, everything crashes for a while. It will recover. Countries will recover. They have natural resources. They have trade goods. They have whatever it is. They will recover. But how long and when? When we have something already in place. Something to think about. I mean, you got to think about bigger than what you can see today. What is available today. How the world trades and works today. Yeah. But people don't realize how much control we have over how things actually work today. No, we don't. We just use it. We just use it. Well, Pi needs to get to that same place. We just use it. It is there. It's there. We just use it. We trust it. We believe it. It's there. What gives it value? I could probably go another 20, 30 minutes on that. Pi itself is what gives it value. Yes, Stellar. If Pi succeeds, the Stellar succeeds. If Pi succeeds, Stellar gets more kudos in their feathers in their cap. Okay? Because Core chose Stellar. Raises Stellar as well. Yeah. Okay? But with that, the protocol. Pi protocol. The protocol. The additions to Stellar. What makes Pi is its foundation. That's where it all starts. That's where value starts. Being that it's 1, 1, and 1, and it's built on trust, adds value. Being that it's 236 countries around the world, adds value. Being that it's distributed in a large enough supply to be able to be used as a daily currency, gives it value. Having a large enough supply that everybody in the world, at one point or another, should be able to reach it, gives it value. Our trust and acceptance gives it value. That's the biggest one right there. Our trust and acceptance. If like I say, I come back to if I'm selling goods and I'm going to accept Pi at a certain value, and I accept it. If you buy it, you accept it. If 29 million people accept it, it is. Can't change it. Okay. Yes, the crypto exchange will be there. Once Pi has a value, a usable, tangible value, doesn't matter what the exchange does. The exchange doesn't control value. Value controls price. Yeah. And if, it comes down to how many are actually traders, really traders. You buy low, you sell high. Well, if I'm not getting the price that I want for the good that I'm selling, I'm not selling. If it's a penny and I want $1 for my good, well, I'm not selling for a penny. I'm waiting until you're going to pay $1. Well, it doesn't matter how many zeros are after that. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the supply and demand. If there's no supply there to warrant that penny, demand goes up, price goes up. Eventually it's going to match. I don't care how you pencil it in, how you add it up, what kind of funky math you use. Eventually, value and price will match. How long it takes to get there, it's on us. That's all it is. It's on us. Same with value. If we let this Pi run its course from the very beginning, it'll take years. I'm not arguing that. It has in every other project. It'll take years to get to some point. But why do we need to start at the beginning? Pi doesn't need to start at the beginning. There's no reason for Pi to start at the beginning. It already has everything in place to be a competitive player in the market today. Why does it need to start at the beginning? Because that's the way it's all started. Yeah, that's what people are telling you, so they can steal your Pi. If you start on the exchange on pennies, even $1, you're giving your profit away. You're giving what you've worked for a month, 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years. If you sell your Pi straight up at the exchange price, you have given your profit away. Everything you've worked for, you've just given away. And the sad part is you've taken money out of your pocket, and you've taken money out of everybody else's. Yeah, because us up here that are dealing with it already know what the value of Pi is. What the value of Pi should be. Where it should I'm just talking starting value. Where it goes after that comes down to the markets. Not the exchanges. The market. Free market. Where you get the most value for your Pi. Okay? So, why do we don't need to start at the beginning. Just cut to the chase, man. Just, if you want to go around the barn and just keep circling and doing whatever and take 2 years to get wherever we're going to end up anyway, why? Man, You know, why? And this might be, I thought you were smarter than that. I really did. Because why do you have to start at the beginning? Because you're looking to steal somebody's pie. Well, if there's no pie to steal, then why are you thinking that way? Well, because you got people convinced that that's the way it is. Well, I'm working at convincing that ain't the way it's got to be. Just cut to the chase. Start someplace reasonable. 1,000, 10,000, it's not reasonable. Someplace reasonable. It still has to be reasonable. They're not going to, people on the exchange aren't going to pay $100 for a pie. Not starting out. No way. No way. Which is good. Which is good. Because if they're not willing to pay it, I'm not willing to put it out there. And if I'm not willing to put it out there, there's no pie there for them to get. Eventually, they will come up. They can't do anything but. If they want pie, as bad as what they're saying they want pie, they will come up. They will come up off a penny. They will come up off $1. They'll come up off $10. They'll come up to $100. Or wherever. I believe $100 is reasonable. Reasonable place to start. Where it goes from there, I don't know. Am I expecting tens of thousands of dollars for pie? No, I'm not. Because that's not pie. Not what pie is meant to be. But if I get fair market value and I can get reasonable goods for that, that's what I expect from pie. You know? If I can go buy a steak for point some pie, I'm down with that. I'm down with that. You know? So, it's all perspective. All perspective. All how you look at it. What can I buy and how much pie do I have to give to pay for it? We don't have to start at the beginning. We don't have to go a long way around the barn. We don't have to get screwed in the process doing it, because that's pretty much what's happening. Keep the profit in your pocket. Keep what you've worked for in your pocket. You deserve it. We deserve it. We all deserve it. No matter whether you think it's free or not, it's not free. Pie's never been free. We've worked for every pie we have. Believe it. And if you believe it, then it has value. Then it's just where you want to set that value. I worked hard for my pie. I put up a lot of garbage. I've earned every pie I have. Yeah. And it's worth something to me. Yeah, I'll sell it, but you're going to have to give me my price for me to sell it. If you don't want to meet my price, you're not going to be able to buy it, because I'm going to be able to use it. Just cut to the chase. Start competitive. Start competitive. Pie is different. Pie can make history. Start competitive. Man, everything Pie has done up to this point has not followed anything that any other crypto has done or is doing. Why should it start at the beginning? Shouldn't. Doesn't need to. Everything is already in place to support it. And then the last, where we're starting now with the dApps is what cements it all together, man. Just think of everything written off of Ethereum. Just think of everything being written off of Ethereum. That's giving Ethereum value. Ethereum is only used inside that ecosystem. You have to buy Ethereum to do whatever on that protocol, which is proof of. I'm not sure. It's a derivative from proof of work. I think it's proof of stake. Maybe I don't know. But it's not. It is what it is. But it's not. Now, if everything that is written on Ethereum can be written on Pi, faster, cheaper, less fees. How long is Ethereum going to be around? How much more is going to be written on Ethereum? Who's thought about it? Who thinks about it? I do. That's the competition. If Pi is faster, cheaper, easier to use, cuts out a lot of stuff that's hindering Ethereum in Pi, why would developers go there when they could come here? That cements Pi value. Guaranteed, man. Think about it. Step back, look at it, think about it. Yes, Pi is not launched yet, it's not live, it's not whatever. But you're also not seeing the potential of Pi, because you close it in a box down here, and it's not in a box down here. It's in a box out here. Get outside that little box, man. Get outside that little box and look at Pi. Look at what Pi has to offer. It's not looking to compete with Bitcoin. Never has. Never has. It's looking to take the next step in the evolution of cryptocurrency. You're looking where Bitcoin stopped. I'm not even going to say fell short. I'm going to say stopped, because it is. It's doing amazing things. It's doing na. But where it stopped, because it went to the exchange. That's all it is. The only place it really trades is on the exchange. Yes, can you make big deal business or whatever? But it's not a usable coin for daily transactions. It's not. That's where Pi's looking to step up. Just looking to take the next step, man. Next step, next evolution in crypto. And with community governance, it should be talked about, needs to be talked about, needs to be structured on how we're going to handle it. It's in the white paper. We should have been talking about it. At the same time, we've been talking about value and price. Because at 5 million, we should have already had a conditional community governance in place. At 5 million, we're coming up on 30, and it's not even being talked about. Too hung up on value and price instead of the future. All right, I'm gonna start getting pissed. I don't want to do that. Happy Thanksgiving to all those that celebrate. Have a great day. Looking forward to the future, and we can do this, man. We can put this one in the books the right way. Let's do it. All right, I'm out.